welcome back. Good morning, Claude. How
Good
you
morning.
doing?
Good. You?
I'm doing well. It's
Good.
Valentine's Day,
Yes.
so I'm
Lot of
excited
love.
to be here. Lots of love.
Lots of love today.
Maybe we can get some heart emojis in the chat today. That'd be awesome. So welcome back. I'm Mark Risen. I'm a local designer here at Atlassian, and based in San Francisco. I work on Bitbucket. We've got Claude Piché, who's joining us from San Diego.
Yes. I work at ServiceNow. It's a IT service management company, and I work on the innovation team there. So we're a small group of 3, and we just think about what's going to be in the future and try to define the future of the company. So it's a lot of fun and a lot of work with Adobe XD, because it allows us to bring some concepts and ideation really fast from sketches to pixel.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here today, right? So we're here to. This is day 2 of working with Claude, and we're focused on using Adobe XD, which is, as you mentioned, kind of probably one of the fastest ways to go from design to prototype to sharing. We've got a great schedule today. We've got Jeannie joining us later on today. We've got Peter joining us. Both of them are working on, I think one of them is working on a web experience. Then we've got a mobile app that's getting worked on. So make sure those of you that are kind of tuning in with us now in the morning, stick around. Today, I think we're going to pick up a little bit of where we left off, so we'll take a little bit of time to kind of recap. I also just wanted to share that we've got a new challenge today. So for those of you that are just tuning in for the first time, if you look into your, chat window, we have a challenge tab, and in there you can download, I think we're focused on a dashboard UI kit. So I opened up the kit already. I've got it on my computer over here, but basically just go ahead and download the kit. I'm pretty sure we're focused just on dashboard UI, but we'd love to see your ideas. We'd love to see how you kind of use the tools that are provided. We've got a really, really awesome asset library that's already populated with font styles, colors, so there's a lot at your fingertips there.
Yeah.
I wish I had...
No excuse.
Yeah,
you can start from a nice little start and shell, and so populate this with real content. And
it's amazing. I mean, even for me, hey Ashish, how's it going? Hey Tim. Even for me, like today, sometimes I still like to try to find templates that can help me speed up my work, or to think about, to kind of take some of the thinking off the table and just say, okay, I'm going to use this as a mock-up, or I'm going to start here. I find that really valuable.
It's almost sometimes like connecting the dots. Like you're working on a specific problem, then you get your inspiration going, and then you see, whoa, maybe I could use like this template to at least get me started, at least get out of that initial thinking. So
yeah, or
they're good.
One of the ways I think about it too is how can you kind of Mr. Potato Head the design? Like how can you take the eyeballs over here and move it where the nose was, and how can you kind of take somebody else's template to kind of make it your own and iterate on it. Hey Dale, we got Dale from Leeds, Jake from Atlanta. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Also, thanks for just sharing where you're from. It's always great just to see just the diversity and the great group of people that are joining us in all hours of the morning and evening. So we covered the challenge, the dashboard UI kit, so make sure you guys download the kit. That's going to be done within the first hour of the challenge to submit your ideas. And then we're also going to be giving away another pair of XD socks.
Nice. Yeah, where am I?
You've got yours on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can we see them? Yeah.
Yeah.
Really comfortable socks.
they are comfortable.
So
we'll be giving away another pair of socks to anybody who's just chiming into the chat. Again, it is Valentine's Day, so if you feel like sharing some love, share some love for XD.
Share the love.
Or at least for Claude, who's up here doing a great job and working away at creating it's a Foosball
Pro.
So I was describing it to some people yesterday. So I was basically saying, imagine you're at a big company and you're just really competitive in foosball. This is the companion app that you're going to want to use.
Yeah, exactly. So we started that concept. A friend and I, after drinking a few beers at a bar, and he was talking to me about he works at WeWork San Diego, and they have they're really intense about their foosball league there, but was telling me and showing me the process they go through to track scores and play and like save the table and stuff. I was like, oh my god, there's a lot of friction, and it's really well done. Don't get me wrong, a lot of passion that went into this. I don't know what time they work or anything, but they put a lot of time. So we were just talking and iterating and coming up with different ideas of what would be a really cool foosball table app. So that like usually 90% of those ideas stays ideas. And that's why I love using Adobe XD, is that you can actually bring your ideas to life in a really, really quick way. So that's the real power, in my opinion, of Adobe XD, is to move fast, fail really fast too, and just iterate and continue.
Yeah.
So like Mark said today, so I'm just gonna give an overview of the brief again. So it's a fictive brief by Foosball Pro. It's a new company. They came up with that foosball table of the future that has a lot of different features. So we can imagine that you could connect to it via Wi-Fi and it could recognize you as a player. We can also imagine that there's going to be smart sensors on the player, so you could potentially get a lot of advanced stats there, like time of possession, passing percentage, see which player scores the most. Is it your forward? Are you a guy that scores from the backwards? So maybe as a player you can go see those stats from someone and say, okay, he's the strategy is to score from behind, so I got to watch that. So
Okay.
There's a lot of passion around foosball. So
I believe you.
Yeah.
By the way, I think also yesterday we determined I'm a terrible foosball player.
Yeah, we'll see that later.
Which is fine. Yeah, I definitely lost.
Then we can also imagine that it's equipped with a video camera, so we could see live replays and also just see how you can improve. And one of my favorite part is that they're gonna have like a speaker on there, so you can play maybe your favorite music. I said yesterday that maybe if I would win, I would like to hear Thunderstruck going,
from AC/DC.
and just it's a really powerful song. So now that we know what the table is capable from a hardware perspective, that's where we're able to provide some features in there. So you can leverage those hardware features. And then I mapped out the different features by the experience. So the experience would start with a pre-game phase, and then a game time phase, and then a post-game phase. So we cover pretty much the whole experience.
Great.
At this point. So some of the neat features that we had in there was stuff like requesting a matchup would be like a key feature there. So I'm at my desk, I need a 5-minute break, I open the app, I say, hey Mark, do you want to go play? And then we meet up, the table is safe for us, and we go play. So that's a pretty neat feature.
Cool.
During game time, we could do stuff like live scoring. So we're thinking about putting an iPad mounted on the machine that could provide the score for yourself. Because I've seen cheaters in the past. You know, you play foosball and they're like, yeah, what's the score again? And then like when they go to put their points, they put 2.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
I
So
wouldn't play those
no
before.
more cheating with that app.
But
So
just on that subject, I did find it really interesting that you're thinking about kind of the ecosystem here of how you have your personal mobile device and how that can help you kind of engage with another person and potentially plan something, and then how that also is leveraged into the iPad that's potentially attached to this foosball table,
yeah.
or even in your watch.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting just to see, you know, we call this kind of a cross-platform experience. I think it'd probably be defined as maybe a continuous experience if you think about like the buckets that this would fit in, meaning that you can kind of transfer from any product and it would just be a continuous flow of the experience between, like regardless of the platform
100%.
that you're in, which is really good.
Yeah, that's good. I like it. You map out the whole experience, then you plug like the different apps or device at the right timing. You mentioned the watch. We had a really cool feature that could be called Feel the Pressure. So let's say you're in a tight game, you start to play, and then it's like 9-9. Your watch is starting to vibrating, and like gives you that extra pressure to score the next goal.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the different features that we had listed out. Usually, when you have a bunch of features like that, you would probably try to prototype them or in order to validate with users to see, because we can have an idea together and this idea needs to be validated with users, and that's why you can put them in front of users and yeah, see if it's good or not. I've seen myself in the past. We used to work on a project called Glowforge. It's a 3D laser printer, and we were approached. Actually, it was a project that we did with Adobe too. Damien and the whole team like filmed the whole thing. You can see maybe on the YouTube. And then we were able to prototype a companion app for a 3D laser printer where you can send your like vector Illustrator files to a 3D laser printer.
Awesome.
And we flew to Seattle, did a user testing on the fly, adjust at night, came up with it in the second day with a completely updated version. And then we could see from the stats and the testing that things were like way better and everything. So that's the power of moving fast and not involving too much dev at the beginning of the process.
Very cool.
So yeah,
awesome. So also for everybody who's just kind of adding your comments, feel free to ask us questions, reach out to Claude. If there's something you want us to kind of explore, please ask those questions. We're going to kind of get right back into where we left off from yesterday. And then if you're curious about the previous video and you weren't able to join us, you can definitely go back and watch the previous episodes. Hey, Lindsay.
So yesterday I showed pretty much the first few screens of my design here. We got to a certain point. I think we did a lot of progress, but like we said yesterday, the first day is a lot of setting the groundwork, set up your type, your style. Now that we have a logo as well that was provided by someone on the chat. Yeah, and then so yeah, we're gonna continue.
Yeah, I think Hafid submitted a design yesterday, and we used the logo that was provided by the community, which is awesome. We were also we can probably demo this a little bit later on, but we are also showing a new update to XD, which is being able to link vector artwork into your Creative Cloud library, and that depending on wherever that file is being edited or used, it'll kind of update globally to everyone else's instance that they're using the icon in. So we demoed that a little bit yesterday, and we can show that again.
Sounds good.
Hafid's back. Yeah, the logo.
Yeah, thank you, man. It looks awesome in there. So I'm probably gonna just quickly show where we got yesterday, and then later on I'll show what we're gonna work today. So yesterday I added like that home screen later, but yesterday we did the first portion of the app. So we can imagine that you're launching the app from your home screen, then you would be brought into that login/home screen of the app. Then you would say continue as Picho. So then you would be logged in, you would be in the app. So the top part of the app would basically be kind of a white label app where you would see the logo of the league you're currently in. On the left you get that hamburger menu, maybe for more options in there. You can see myself here top right if you need to go edit your profile or anything. We imagine that the first place we bring the user once they're in would be to that news feed, so they can get stuff like the latest score. They can get some people just posting status about the fact that they can beat anyone. So Paul Tranny here, I think everyone knows him pretty well. I think he's a pretty good foosball player. So here he is challenging people. And this is a card-based approach here, so that would just bring in different types of content in there. And I wanted to somehow make those cards really actionable. So Paul, if he says something like he can beat anyone, well, I want the user to be able to just tap in and challenge Paul right away. Other type of content that would be in there is probably like some final score. So you can see that Michael got a pretty big lead here on Mark, but it's okay.
Moving on.
I need to change the name. And then you could see people like I showed yesterday. We showed the repeat grid to populate some galleries of images in there. So that could be some cool stuff that
Go ahead.
we could do. Yeah. So then we thought that the main action would be to play on this app. So you could select a matchup type. So at this point we can say that like you want to play a specific friend, you want to play someone in your same division, or someone completely random.
Cool.
So the random one could be a little crazy because you could probably play someone that is way out of your league. So if you tap in on same division matchup, you would probably get at this point just a little loading screen that, like, you know, to show that the app is currently looking for people that are available and also the same level as you. And then once this is finished loading, then you could see a list of people there. So in that case, I would probably challenge one of these guys, and that's where we got yesterday.
Cool.
So we got a lot of the visual design done. We got a bit of prototype done too. So I think we're gonna move even faster today in order to show even more stuff.
And Amanda asked a great question. So when you create an app in Adobe XD, is it possible to export only the art files so that you could send them to a developer to code the app?
Yeah, we can really do that. Where you could click on the artboard here and do file export, and then you could export selected artboard, all artboards, or I think batch. I don't know what's the batch one yet. We can, but yeah, it works. And also I think they have their new beta for publish the design specs.
Correct.
So you were talking about sending this to a developer to code the app. I think they're doing a lot of integration with Zeppelin at this time too. So more and more to come to facilitate the transition from UX and visual design to actually the developer to make the real app coming alive.
Yeah, and when it comes to workflow, I think that's something that still just continues to evolve. Of how do you kind of, you know, how do you hand over these assets in a way that the developer knows how to implement them and has the designs to work against them? And then also for you as a designer, how can you create a conversation with the developer to kind of see the work in progress and help kind of push the design along the way? And so having something that is able to export all the assets and kind of bundle all that for the developer and then juxtapose to kind of the compositions, I think is a really good approach.
The more clarity you can bring, like the best job the developer will do for you. So
totally. Awesome.
Some people are really fortunate to have really design-minded developer, but then there's other developers that are like, just make it and that's it. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited. So also continue to ask questions. Thanks, Amanda, for asking the great question just on how to kind of export and share the artboards.
So you can also see that I have my sketches in there. That I think it's really neat to bring the sketches inside Adobe XD so that everything lives into one place. So for me, it's really easy to reference back to what I'm gonna go design next. So at this point, we just found the potential opponents. So now I'm gonna go ahead and tap on one of the opponent and select the matchup type. So that's the next screen I'll be working on right now.
And while you're working here, I just wanted to share, you know, Claude did a really good job at sketching out a lot of these designs prior to kind of coming in, and the fact that he's also using his sketches on his overall like workstation is a really good way to kind of ground yourself and to bring yourself back into your focus. I know that at least for me, sometimes when I'm working digitally, I can kind of get a little bit into the minutia and into the details and focus on drop shadows. But if you kind of take a step back and say, oh, by the way, I have all these sketches that I'm also trying to capture the entire experience, it's a good way to bring yourself back into kind of, I think you used the word painting in broad strokes.
Yeah.
But it's a good way to cover a lot of ground in the experience. And I think specifically when you're working in mobile or you're creating an app experience, you really want to try to capture that user journey or that user flow, right? So that someone else can kind of get into the mindset of, okay, I can imagine myself using this app.
Yeah.
And this is the flow that I would go through. And that's basically what we're trying to capture here is almost like an end-to-end or enclosed experience.
Yep.
Awesome.
Challenge this guy.
So let's see, Alariza, in Adobe XD, is it possible to convert artboards to HTML and CSS? I actually don't know the answer to that question.
Me neither.
I would probably lean towards the no.
Me too, but I have no clue.
But I think it's a really interesting idea. You know, the closer design can get to the implementation, especially on the front end, I think it starts to make design even more accessible to other people. So that can probably be added to the feature requests on the Adobe XD user voice. Yep. Mitch confirmed the answer. Thanks, Mitch.
Thank you, Mitch.
I feel way way more confident making that call now.
We knew it.
We knew it.
Yeah,
that's right.
We're just to know if you guys were still following.
So thank you for those of us that are joining us. Remember, we get a pair of socks with your name on it and Adobe XD. So I think we'll be picking the winner after the first hour. And then we're really excited to see the submissions for the dashboard UI kit as well. So make sure you download the UI kit and start sharing your submissions. And continue with your questions. If anybody has any questions about what Claude's working on, a little bit more about his process, anything that's going to be helpful. Yes, Michael, if your name is XD. We could put your name on it somewhere. We've got a whole sewing machine back here. We can just stitch something up.
Right.
Hi, Patricia. I think you said you were from Milan.
Well, it must be pretty late right now.
Yeah, it's got to be about 9 hours, so...
Is there anyone from Canada, from Quebec, Montreal?
Can you add videos, highlight videos, tutorials, that kind of thing? So there's... I'm not sure... Daniel, can you help clarify your question? Are you asking, can we upload videos of the work that we're doing here? Or are you asking if there is the ability to upload videos in the tutorial? Okay, so it's 6:30 in Milan. It's not too late.
Does Ottawa count? That's it. Ottawa is 5 minutes away from my hometown. In Ottawa, the capital of Canada. I'm from Gatineau, just across the river from Ottawa. It's the barrier between French and English.
Oh, cool.
You cross a bridge and everything is in English. The other side is completely French.
Got to know.
Got to know.
You gotta know. Sorry.
Gotta know, get to know.
Terrible jokes.
Right, so in that matchup setup that we're gonna do with Michael is that once you'll tap on his card here, you'll land over there and then see that you're still challenging Michael. Right under, we're gonna choose a game type. So in that case, I made an element that I'll probably add into my symbol library because it's probably an element that we would reuse through the app. So symbols allows you to do that really quickly, so you don't have to recreate everything all the time. And also, if you want to edit something, let's say you put that toggle 20 times into your artboards all over, and then the stakeholder says I don't like the way it looks. Well, for you don't have to go change it one by one. You just edit one place in your symbol and it's going to affect everything in the artboard.
So we had a couple really good questions asked while you were sharing. So Zolf asked about, he was having some problems loading images into shapes, and I know this is something we experienced yesterday because sometimes when we've already added an image to be masked, it's harder to drag and drop another series of images on top of that photo. So can you just go ahead and share?
For sure. Just put an image inside.
Yeah, so just dragging into a shape. And then Luke asked a follow-up question, which is in regards to font size. and he just made an observation that he noticed a lot of manual resizing of fonts, and I think that's probably a good opportunity to talk about the typeface that you can put in the asset library as well.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll show those two things right now. So you also mentioned yesterday that maybe we could do something with that home screen and put an image in there. So let's try to do that in there. So right now I just added a rectangular shape at the very bottom of my layers, and I'll go into my Finder here, and I'll find a Foosball Pro in my assets, photos. So photos that are coming from Adobe here. So maybe we can select one of the photo here, maybe this one. This one is kind of cool. So by clicking and dragging into my artboard, it's going to automatically mask it out. Okay. And then I can go, so I can see that my image is in there. And then I could probably play a bit with the appearance in there. So make it like 20%. It's kind of cool. So it gives it a little vibe.
Now, if you tried to add another image on top of that image that currently exists, is that may be the issue that Solf was describing to us.
So if I put another one,
yep. So it's updating.
It just loads. Yeah, it just loads everywhere.
Awesome.
I think I like that thing. We could imagine like a video of like that could play in the background. It just sets you in the mood and in the mood to go play a game. That could be kind of fun.
Totally. Yeah, and when we were talking about adding that photograph in there, we were describing it a little bit as bringing it back kind of to a brand perspective, right? Like, how can we make this relatable to people, knowing that foosball is a game that's played with people? So using that type of imagery, and actually the image you chose is really nice because it's centered subject matter. It's going to a 1-point perspective. So if you were to
could put something out,
you could basically position that ball into the center of the screen so that everything is kind of located above the call to action.
So another thing that was mentioned is setting the different type styles.
That was by Luke.
You can see that like so right bottom left here is the toggle that you can switch between your layers and also your assets. So in your assets, you can see right now that I have like all my colors preset in there. So I don't have like 50 shades of gray in there. Like I usually always use 5 grays. I don't know, like one time one of my coworkers was saying like you need a white, gray light, no, it's gray lighter, gray light, gray darker, gray dark, gray darker. So that's how you should always play with it. And I think it works so well where, you know, sometimes you're, oh no, is it like a little too gray and stuff? No, just fix to your constraint and just like play with the rules a bit. Right. So I think this was pretty cool. So to come back to setting a type style in there, so I could say that this one, the game type, would be probably my label style. So by tapping on the text here and hitting the little plus next to the character style, it automatically create the style over there. So, and then from here, let's say I wanted to edit this, you get that little pop over here, and then you can just like change it, and it's going to affect everywhere in the app that has the same exact style. So it's a really, really nice way to just make your things like more like system based and like, you know, clean. Although I like to think that XD sometimes is more of a, at least for me, from what I've used so far, it's more of a quick moving from pencil to pixel and move pretty fast and not create too much rules in there. At least it's from the usage I did, but you know, it's capable of if you need to do it and apply like a whole design system in there. So we're gonna change that back.
Cool. So just gonna field some of these questions here. Armando asked, in a real project for a client, do you draw all the screens or only the main screens?
I would probably draw everything. You don't really want to leave any room for how would you say that? Like for
edge cases or
yeah,
areas unknown?
Unknowns, yeah.
Yeah.
I would probably tackle some of the main screens at first to get a validation of the concept, and then once we have the go with like is it your client, your stakeholder in a private company? Then once you get the go, then you go into details.
Yeah. And Armando, like I also think it depends on at what point you're talking with a client. Sometimes you can start with only the primary screens in the beginning of the process, and then as you move further along, or as you're kind of going through the iterative process, to kind of expand into more and more screens. Amanda, when you create an app, are you automatically creating it for all different phone resolutions, or do you need to recreate the artwork for different sizes? So I think in regards to platforms, it would definitely be different designing between Android and iOS. There was a question earlier if this was optimized for iOS. I would say yes, just because it's showing the iOS system bar at the top. I think designing between the iPhone X to the iPhone 8 to the iPhone 7 all the way down to like the 5C, which I think is the last maybe version that's supported. Most of that can actually be done in Xcode to some regard. So most of the scaling and optimization can happen, but there are manual touches that are needed on design because as you reduce the screen size, you're reducing density of information. So if on the activity feed we have really, really large cards, and on an iPhone 8 we're going to be able to see 3 of those cards, it's going to be much smaller on a smaller device. And so thinking about those constraints and designing for them can help you better service the like multi-device approach that you're going for. So sometimes you can bookend those, and you can just start with a spectrum and say, listen, I'm going to the largest phone size, and then I'm going to scale all the way down to the smallest, and I'm not going to worry about the in-between because I've kind of hit my benchmark to know what sizes that I'm covering. I hope that helps. So Lindsay asked a question. So while you're working over there, I'm just going to open up as soon as I'm able to get my computer going. Here we go. Lindsay asked a question about dashboards and some use cases. So for those of you, we are doing a challenge today. We've shared a dashboard UI kit with you. I've got that open right now in XD. And Lindsay asked a good question, which is, what's the use case for a dashboard? I think that, this could be I think some obvious choices, or anything that's going to be kind of on the analytics level, or any type of like user usage on a website, or this could be health tracking. This could be it could be something tied to your workflow or your progress, how of the tasks that you have to kind of get done in a day, how many of those tasks have you completed? But I think anytime you think of a dashboard, it's comprised of widgets, and those widgets are kind of small snapshots of information that you feel is going to be helpful. So if we take a look at this example here, we're looking at an overview dashboard, and it looks like it's showing us something in regards to maybe purchasing or on a purchase website. So we've got total views, so this is kind of overall traffic that's happening on the website. Products sold, which means it's an e-commerce, so we're selling something on this website, and then we have our total earnings, which is the profit. And so this kind of statistics overview, or this graph, is now showing us kind of the corollaries. So we're seeing the blues and the purples here, so it's showing us the corollaries of the total amount of views juxtaposed to the total amounts of products being sold. And then we can see a hint of a map here, which is probably where the sales are coming from, which is anecdotal, but it helps support, oh, well, if I'm seeing a lot of purchasing coming out of North America or coming out of Brazil, there's something that's happening there. So my product, maybe I want to, think about how I can better suit that user base and that need. So I hope that helps. Great question.
Right.
Yep, credit card dashboard. McCool asked what font awesome is. I know you were...
Oh, yeah. Well, this is a little pro tip for designers out there. I don't know. What do you think about Font Awesome?
I mean, just like anything, I think it's a really good resource that kind of
Yeah.
basically takes glyphs or icons and then uses
Yeah.
it as a typeface, which is
I feel-
essentially what it's doing.
I feel like for especially for a like system type icons, it works really well. So I feel like sometimes people are trying to get slightly too fancy with icons, and then icons are there to like represent something and needs to be clear like across any countries in the world. So you
Correct.
gotta. So I think overall that their icons are really nice, and also something pretty neat. They're easy to use, so you get the cheat sheet there on Font Awesome, and then you can just like, I usually do like Command F and then type in like bell, and then you could see like I want a bell, let's say maybe for notification. I just copy, paste in there, and it's in there. And I have the Pro version. It comes like light, it comes solid, and it has like all, let's say, brands like Facebook icons. How many times in your life as a designer you go like download the new like Facebook icon, or like there was like so much different style of
Yeah.
it and all of that. So having it like really nice and clean into that font is something that I always use, and I like it.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome.
So okay, at this point I'm gonna, so right now we have the matchup set up with Michael Chase, who is a host here usually and on Adobe. So I'm about to challenge him, and something that I like to do when I work in terms of like workflow is that usually I place my artboards onto a horizontal way, and then if I want to do micro interaction, then I'll bring it down like that. So for me, it's just like, because sometimes you work on an app, you have like so many artboards, and it's hard to like follow the story and follow the different path. So it's a way that I found was pretty interesting for me. So here I can go ahead. So we're gonna prototype real quick the toggle between competitive and friendly. So I'm just gonna move that over there and just resize my shape here, my little pill shape. Oops. And just bring
I do something very similar. So when I think about the flows, it's kind of a mental model maybe, but it's just a way to kind of organize your board, and then you kind of think of these experiences as little branches that come off of the primary screen.
So you can see right here that I have more of a micro interaction so I don't know exactly what's the science term of micro interaction, but I would think it's an interaction that happened within the same artboard. So it just like toggle inside in there. So in that case,
Hi Katarina, thanks for joining us.
I changed everything.
Hi Jen.
Oh, Jen. Jen's a coworker of mine. Hello, Jen.
Awesome.
Groups
And because it's Valentine's Day, I think it's also, we've got our unsung heroes here in the background. We got Gus, we got Francisco helping out. So, maybe somebody can send some heart emojis to Gus. Maybe we can get him in the product today and, put him to a little bit of work. See how Gus fares on the foosball table.
So, guys, I'm going to show you real quick how we're going to achieve that small interaction. Super simple, and that's why I like XD so much, is that you can switch from design to prototype really fast without exporting any assets. Everything happens in one place, and that's what I like the most. So if you go up left here, you can see that there's a tab navigation between design and prototype. So by clicking on prototype, you would then change the whole app mode. You're now into prototyping mode. So the goal here would be that if I tap on friendly, it would just switch to this state. So by clicking here and by clicking on different elements, you can see that there's a little blue box that goes around it. That's your hotspot. That's where when you're gonna tap and test it out on the app, that's where it's gonna be. That's where it's gonna be affected. So you can see also that there's a little blue arrow next to it. And this is, if you click and drag on it, you can then see that you have a big blue string here that follows you, and it's basically where you need to go drop it. So at this point, you can see that if I hover on top of the screen, you can see that it's blue around. That means that's where it's going to affect. And then you release. On release, you can see then that a few options in there. The target is basically the artboard that's going to be. So if you wanted to change it at this point to something else, it has all the artboard's name in there. But we want to go in this one. And then you have different transition at this point. Since we're doing a micro interaction, we're going to leave it to dissolve so it doesn't affect anything. And just and then we had a whole conversation about easing things out yesterday that we won't do again.
We still didn't figure it out.
We didn't figure it out.
I mean, I'm sure there's something out there, but
I'm pretty sure someone could have a nice
in.
explanation about what it is, like a really, really detailed explanation. That would be great.
Hey Varun, it's Mark Risen. And we're here with Claude Piché. Yeah, thanks.
That's
thanks
good.
For the
some mustache love.
Talking about the mustache.
Cool. So now we're gonna test our interaction. So quickly, I can go hit the play button there, see if it works. Bring this to full screen. Oh, this is really cool. Do you have that thing, the resize?
Oh wow.
I'll show you that.
That's cool.
Let's see. Pro tip. And then so you can tap on friendly. Then you just toggle in there. So at this point, I could do just a friendly game with Michael because he's a really friendly person, and I don't want to embarrass him too much on the play. Then I could do the interaction that goes back to competitive in there, and then just toggle between the two. You can see it works really well.
Cool. Great stuff.
Yeah. So we're making progress here. At one point now, the next interaction would be that if I tap on the main CTA, the challenge Michael Chase, it's going to go to a status screen that tells me that, the invite was sent, just to really be clear with the user that, we got you.
So Zolfast, if you can, which was the same question regarding placing an image in a shape. He asked if you can reposition an image in an object, and yes, you can. I believe you just need to double-click into the object, and then you can kind of shift the image around.
Yeah, you can.
Is it double-click or is it triple-click?
I'm not sure if you can if you mask it out, but if you dropped it out.
Okay.
So for example, let's say I want to be like super crazy and add in an image inside my CTAs here. I want like maybe that, like something super abstract. So I drop it next to it, then you see that my image is my image is like super big at this point, and then I just resize this down a bit. So let's say I want to be fancy. So you can see here on the left, I have my image. I'm just gonna bring it down here, then select the two elements and just hit, I think, mask. So you object, mask with shape, or shift command M, and then it just goes inside there. Then just bring my text on top. That's kind of neat. CTA. Are we setting a new trend right now? Or what?
Could be.
Image and CTAs. We've seen everything. We're due for a new trend about something, right? So we could have like a CTA in there, and then let's say we want to make it. We want to change the style a bit. We want to make it 20%. Maybe it's more subtle like that, but that's the way to do it, basically.
Cool. Awesome. Kevin asked, what are the 3 tips of advice that each of us would give to a designer today?
Oh, the 3 tips for a designer? Well, okay.
We can come back to it also.
Yeah.
If it's.
I think like one of the things is to approach every day like with a beginner mindset. So always be open to learn new stuff, learn new tools, expose yourself to a lot of different situations as well. Accept feedback like a champ would be one of the biggest thing. I've seen so many designers just like protecting their work too much. I think it's the more you expose your work to different pair of eyes, the better it'll get. And at the end of the day, it's not a piece of art, it's design, and you're here to solve real problems. So the more brains towards a problem usually makes it a better thing. So that's my, like, a few advice I would give.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think I share the sentiment. So beginner's mind, feedback is always a gift. You know, as Claude mentioned, the feedback is what really helps push you into new areas and kind of outside of your own personal bias. And then I think the other thing is just, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're trying to be a designer in a company or for a client, you have to be able to illustrate or demonstrate your problem-solving skills. And this is kind of like visual design or drawing ability aside. You want to be a good problem solver and how you approach problems. And
Yeah.
so I think being able to communicate that in whatever means or medium possible is something that's really, really important. And then, you know, like, practice ruthlessly. Like,
Yeah. Flex your muscles.
Yeah. Like, open up tools and programs and look at other people's designs. We had another guest speaker here who was showing how you can just take existing designs and sketch right over them, but learn from others, learn from other products, and just kind of practice ruthlessly.
Oh, let's see. So one thing that we didn't really show yesterday or today is that Adobe provides a lot of resource that you guys can use from. You can access those by going to File and then get the UI kits. So it's always good that when you design, especially for mobile, like, just start with the basics of what's out there already. It's gonna save you, number one, time with developers. Don't try to recreate how a top navigation, like, don't go too crazy with that. Start with like the challenge of today. We're giving you a bit of shell to start from, and then be creative within the constraint. I think it's pretty good. So I really like those design templates that Adobe XD provide. It allows me first to move very fast. So in that case, I want to create a notification that's going to be on top of a cell phone. So I just go in there and just paste it on top. It just comes in there. Maybe I can put a shape right there, and then make it black. Then put this on top. So at this point, we're now going to be on a different phone. So to showcase that, I'm just going to bring Michael there, just to show that it's Michael's phone at this point. And I think I'm going to put my photo like right here, just to be clear. It's always nice to add, like, the more clarity you can provide in your files, first, the better your teammates will like you, and the better the clarity is better. Yeah. Cool. So we can say maybe Foosball invitation, and then we could say that, like, Picho, if you guys want to follow on Instagram, self-promotion, you can check it out. Yeah, and then Picho invited you to play a friendly matchup. Maybe we can put the time at 10 a.m. Yeah, that would be good. And then we would have, like, accept. Maybe we need 2 buttons at this point too. And we're gonna force the user to accept. No way to cancel. So yeah, at this point it's accept. So also for the guys that are joining us and right now, today we're building a companion app that's gonna be used with a smart table. So foosball table of the future. We have crazy stuff like connecting Wi-Fi. We were also thinking yesterday that maybe with the mounted iPad on top, you would have, like, some sort of, like, facial recognition that would recognize you. So skip the Wi-Fi completely. All about removing the friction. Crazy stuff like sensors on the players, so you can imagine a lot of advanced stats, video camera for live replay, so a bunch of really cool stuff. If you guys have any ideas of what we could have into features, please shoot it in the chat, and we'll like to get your thoughts.
Yep. And as you're shooting those messages in the chat, you'll also be opting in for a pair of socks, which we have right here. I feel
Good
like
socks.
I should. Like I should just
Yeah, we're gonna show it again.
Just
They're
them
great.
off. There we go.
Great
Yeah.
socks.
So Claude's got a pair on. We've got a pair for you. So I think there's about 10 minutes left.
All right. Cool. Invite to play. Then at this point you would accept. All right. So what would be next?
I think Sean asked this question. Maybe he asked it yesterday also, but it was about resizing a symbol, and if there's any kind of maybe I think he's referring to it on kind of the global level. If you were to resize a button that you have that's across multiple screens,
Oh,
if there's
yeah.
any pro tips for that?
So I think I can demonstrate that really quick. So let's say my main CTA here would be a symbol. So if I go in there and then add that symbol in, and let's pretend I would change this here. So by changing this symbol, changing this, it should technically affect everywhere. So by changing an element, it's going to affect across the whole board.
Right, and
If
so
you-
that was just by adding that to the symbols library.
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
plus
yeah.
button.
Once you build, so I always approach design sometimes like Lego blocks. At this point, we didn't have all of our blocks. We're still in ideation, and we're still like concepting everything. Once we'll get our validation, then you start to like get your Lego blocks / your components, and then build them everywhere and add them into the symbols. And that way you can go ahead and place them everywhere. And if you need to change them, change the colors of it, or adjust some stuff, then it's going to affect everywhere.
Right.
So that's the good way to go about it.
Very cool. McCool asked your tip on choosing fonts for your project.
Oof, that's a good point. I love typography. I have I don't know, it's been something since I started my career and 9 years ago in design, that typography was always something I notice on everything by like looking at restaurant menu, looking on signs or like logo. It's something I just that I really like, a big passion around. And also I like to mix it up. So in that case right now, I have two types. It's Riff Soft. It's available on Adobe Typekit. And then I have Circular that I don't think it's part of Typekit though. It's bad on me. I should have chose two type. But one condensed font with a nice clean sans serif font, I think in that case works really well here. I like that font I use right now, this one, because it's pretty condensed. It has a nice roundness in it that matches really well my rounded cards and also fully rounded buttons. So everything has some sort of a rounded look. So I think everything has a lot of harmony together, and it brings also the impact that I want in terms of it's a sport app. So it needs a lot of boldness and character. So
Yeah. I think McCool, like, it definitely comes back to kind of brand and just your, we use the word harmony. And so you kind of want to, as we're thinking about this as a sport app, I think the font definitely conveys that with kind of the accelerated movement of how it's kind of leaning, the fact that it's kind of all caps, so it's bigger and bolder. I probably couldn't begin to describe like how you go making those decisions, but I think again it comes back to reference. Look at a very kind of nice fine dining like menu experience, and what's going to be the typeface that you use there, as opposed to reading news articles and something like a Times New Roman or a serif font. And as you kind of see how other people are using fonts and executing fonts, be it for an advertisement for something like Nike or something else, you can kind of start to pick up on the nuance within the fonts that are being used. But it definitely comes back to brand. It definitely comes back to your choice. Yeah, so hopefully that's helpful. So the challenge for Lindsay, we can review what we have within the first hour, and then it's going to wrap up 30 minutes before the session ends, and then we'll be giving away the socks in about 5 minutes.
Cool. So now I'm trying to also illustrate the fact that at this point there's no more. Just to follow my story here is that, you know, at this point Michael accept the matchup, and I want to illustrate that they're going into play. So I just drag in a different type of artboard here to break out the mobile artboards, so to show it's playing. And probably now what I'm gonna tackle next is that we were talking earlier on about that whole experience and touching and using different touch point and using different devices to enhance and elevate that experience. So we covered a lot into the iPhone at this point. Now we're gonna play and probably design a bit of the what should that iPad experience look like. I don't have any sketches for that yet, so it's gonna be a little freestyle at this point.
Cool.
We're just probably gonna put some big scores, like scoring. What else could be in there? I'm not 100% sure. If you guys have any ideas, if you have ideas, please shoot me.
Maybe
idea.
something like the player's turn, like which side the ball's on for the player.
That's good.
I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting to
live replay.
You could do something like a super move, like if they had a power meter that's like, oh man.
Oh yeah.
You're really pumped up.
Yeah. Or like.
I was also just gonna share. So I know we're giving away some socks here in about 3 minutes, but also we do have the dashboard challenge, which we're giving away a year's subscription to Adobe CC, which is awesome. That means you kind of get everything in the Creative Suite at your fingertips to try out XD, to try out Creative Cloud, to try out Photoshop, Illustrator, which is pretty awesome.
Cool. One thing I also like about XD is that by clicking on the little artboard button here, if I go on the right side, I have all of my different devices here with pre-selected size. How many times in the past were you like Googling, like, I don't know, like Apple Air size, you know? You don't need to do that. Adobe XD got you covered, and they put all the sizes in there ready for you to use. So all the Apple device, Google, and Microsoft, and overall web sizes. It's pretty cool that it's in there.
So Patricia, I definitely think we will ship the socks to Milan if you win.
Oh yeah, nice.
I think we'll ship them anywhere.
All right. So now just...
So Robert really wants to hear the goal narration. You know, anytime in football somebody scores, you kind of get the really long.
That would be cool.
Yeah. We can get the the vuvuzela. The like the big. It's like an instrument or horn, I think, that they play at the games. I'm sure somebody can correct me, but yeah, they've got some of the noisemakers in the stadium.
So we're gonna grab her. So this you would have.
And we're about almost at that time to select our random winner who gets a pair of warm socks. I'm still waiting for my envelope. All right, so we're 1 minute away. Now's the time to send your chat message,
share your love,
share your heart emojis for Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Who wants some socks?
Send some high fives to Claude. Robert, all you have to do is just be active in the chat. If you haven't already signed in, you can join Behance and sign up. But yeah, that's it. Just as simple as having a conversation. Sacco love. So, if you're just coming in, Claude is working on a Foosball companion app for teams and people in, I guess, kind of like large companies. I think everybody kind of needs to be in the same place, but for people that are really passionate about foosball. And he's creating a companion app that can help you connect with coworkers, team players, maybe kind of manage and keep track of your scores, and then also to be able to create new matches with people.
Maybe we should put this dark UI. Maybe I can put this. Yeah, again, this is just coming from a random conversation of a friend and I, and now we're taking this and adding fidelity to it and just bring it to life inside XD. Once this is done, we can approach some foosball company, approach them with the concept, see if they buy in, see if they want to invest in that concept, or if it's completely crap and there's no need for it. Well, no. That way you know. At least the idea is out there and not just in your head. That's what I like about XD. Just open the app and start to put some pixels together.
Awesome. So, we have our winner. Would you like to announce their name? Okay.
So the winner today, Mr. Matt Benson.
All right, Matt. You get this lovely pair. This exact pair of socks is what. You get these pair of socks. No, we'll send you a clean pair. But thanks so much for everybody that's chiming in and chatting with us. All right.
So now I decided to go with a dark UI for the iPad part. At first I was trying to play with the blue in the background, which I think it's going to be a little tough because I want to make sure that we have the color that associates the different players. So on a typical foosball table, you always get red and blue. So that way you want to make it clear for, is it people walking by, or just like to know who's in what team. So that's why I'm going with a dark UI at this point. I could have gone white still, but I think, I don't know, it makes it kind of cool to just shift things around between the different touch points. Cool. So this should be blue. And then let's say we start in, this is like that, and this has a 5, it's got 5 here, and then we're gonna put.
Hey Mateus, Eduardo, thanks for joining us. Vicky. So Vicky, if you're just tuning in, we've got Claude Piché here, who's working on a foosball app. Right now we're working on an iPad screen that's part of the complementary experience to the mobile app, which we've been working on. You can catch yesterday's episode if you want to kind of recap the whole session.
So, painting with a pretty broad stroke brush here. Like I said yesterday, we'll adjust some details in there, just putting some ideas. Maybe we can have something around who has possession of the ball. So if we have trackers on the players and trackers on the ball, like who has a position, and you see it shift between the two. We were thinking about also a Spotify integration, so maybe we can put like the logo in there, and later on we'll be able to change some songs while you play. That could be kind of fun. I'm just gonna And guys, pro tip, when you search image on Google, if you type in PNG, you usually will get a transparent image. So that way, not a pro tip, but lazy tip.
There's a lot of people in need of socks right now.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's got to be really cold in Canada, but there's just a lot of people that are in need of some socks.
Yeah. Maya from Vancouver.
So I think what's really interesting, and maybe as you're working on this iPad, you know, as you mentioned, one, it'd be really great just to hear everybody's suggestions if they have any ideas for this. We've definitely had some comments in regards to kind of how you changed a little bit of maybe the colors, or just like how it would be exactly connected to the app. So
yeah.
You're kind of choosing a high contrast. I think one thing also is you know, you want to think about this iPad experience in the table at the distance that you're going to see it in. So it's probably going to be really important that things are large.
Oh yeah.
Things are visible.
100%. Yeah.
So that you can see them from kind of a, you know, maybe a 4-foot, 5-foot view.
So one thing I want to do too is that.
So Maya mentioned she really likes the font that you're using.
It's a cool font. I like it. It's used. I got it from Adobe Typekit. It's really cool. So let's say we put this in white.
Patricia, we will be live again tomorrow. Tomorrow will be day 3, our final day. And then also, if you're tuning in, there's also other guests that are going to be coming in after Claude. We're kind of the first segment in the morning. But yeah, we also have Jeannie and Peter, who are 2 other really talented people that have been joining us this week, and they'll be joining us later on today and then joining us tomorrow.
That could be kind of cool, something like that, where you put the goal.
That's awesome.
And then maybe we would have some sort of a button there that tells you if you want to pause the game and watch the replay. Let's say it's a super nice goal. Maybe you could see it. And then maybe we still need the score too at the top. I'm not sure yet if we should just put the user there. I don't know. Show that the score is updated. Could be kind of fun too. I'll come back to it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, and you know, this is one of the things I think that, you know, we as probably designers would love to see more, is being able to kind of handle animations or some type of transition. But you know, imagine if the number of your score kind of came in and scaled.
Yeah, that would be
up
sick.
to the size of the screen, or
yeah.
I don't know. That would be really cool. Hi, Laura. Nice to see you again.
Right.
Ciao, ci vediamo, Patricia.
Right.
Eduardo's leaving us, but he definitely said, "Love you all and happy Valentine's Day." So
Thanks for
joining
the
us.
All right, so that would be kind of what we're gonna do in there. I'm gonna center some stuff. I was thinking about probably bring another icon coming from Font Awesome. So if I type in a video here.
Luca, sì, parlo italiano.
And whoops. Where did you learn Italian?
I lived in Italy for about
really?
a year. Yeah, I ended up doing my graduate degree in Milan.
Nice.
And lived there for about a year and a half.
Cool.
Which was
You liked it?
awesome. Yeah, it's
Nice.
very memorable experience.
That's cool. I feel like going abroad, outside of your country, outside of your comfort zone, like gives you so much, like tools that you end up using like in life in every type of situation, getting like more exposure. It's
Yeah, we're
really
getting really deep here, guys. But absolutely, life is all about encounters and getting out and experiencing new cultures. Grazie, Luca. Yeah. I mean, I think it adds a lot of dimension just to your experiences, and you know, I think that's one of the things that maybe is understated, is whether you're touring a museum or you're going out and seeing historical churches in other countries. All that kind of adds to your creative output.
Yeah.
And it's important, as much as you're pushing out design and using products and tools like Adobe XD, it's also important to kind of pull back in and take in and, you know, go and check out museums, go and check out historical art, go and check out basically even graffiti that's on the street. But being present's pretty awesome. Vicky, my name's Mark Risen. This is my third time on Adobe Live. Previously I was a guest just as Claude, and now I get to kind of sit and co-pilot and be in the other seat, which is fun. I'm really curious how these challenges are coming along too. For those of you, we have a dashboard UI kit that's available to download, and in about the next 20 minutes we'll be hopefully looking at some of those designs, reviewing those designs, and then selecting a winner who's going to get a full year of Adobe CC, which is awesome. Bye, Laura. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Roberto.
Trying to put like a little music player that could be somewhere down here. I'm gonna put those numbers bigger too. Even more. Whoa.
Thanks, Amanda. That's the second Bob Ross reference I've gotten for my soothing 9 a.m. voice. Maybe we can put some happy little trees on your iPad app.
All right.
So Mateus asked a question. Picho, when is the Telepathy XD streams returning?
Oh, that's sad. So if you guys don't know, is that
I don't know.
You don't know. So after the first time, ex-coworker and I joined Adobe Live.
You're very special to us.
After the first time, we decided to do our own little version of a live XD show. So we were inviting brands like we got Nixon coming in, and we designed a watch experience for them for their new smartwatch. Then we had Loki the Wolf Dog on Instagram.
Yeah.
So he was live with us in the studio, and we did a influencer app on the fly with him. It was kind of cool. So it was just a nice time for us to just approach people and do something and have fun for free. But sadly, Telepathy and also great stuff that Telepathy got acquired by ServiceNow. So we're now part of a product company in San Diego. So that's where it's a new chapter for Telepathy and all the employees.
Cool.
Yep.
So I guess we're hearing some background music. Is anybody? I don't have. Okay, we're all good. The crew in the back figured it out.
Whoops. Just have something there.
Claudia asked if you're still at DT.
It's DT is now part of ServiceNow, so yeah. Cool. So guys, just to give you a quick update on where we at right now with the prototype, we have been crunching a lot of work within the last 2 days. coming from the brief all the way to some feature requests or just features ideas here for a foosball table app that's going to be used into bigger workspace, and it's like just an easy way to save a table, challenge a coworker, and have some good fun playing foosball. We're covering a big experience on and using different devices like the iPhone, the iPad, and possibly the Apple Watch. So at this point right now, that's what I'm designing. It's that iPad that's going to be mounted to the table. So right now I just want to have like the main goal of that screen would probably to have the score, watch some replays, and see some nice screen where when someone scores, what you said, like the horn could come in,
Yep.
and then that could be kind of fun, and also controlling probably the music in there. Did a lot of early sketches of the MVP flow, so they're just why is the app viable and how do people perform the main action we want to take within the app. And then now got some visual design started. We got a nice logo coming from the chat yesterday. Thanks again, that was super fun and helpful. It helped me define a bit of my style here. So I can run through the prototype so far.
Yeah, and somebody asked earlier also about, so you can actually test these on your device, which we totally recommend. I think we just need a...
We could, right? If we have a cord.
Yeah, so you need to download the Adobe XD mobile app, and then you have to plug it in directly to your laptop. And then what it'll do is it'll automatically load once you click the prototype.
And you can also like change on the fly, adjust typeface on the fly too. So one thing that we're not maybe doing right now is to really look on the device, and I would probably recommend doing that if you're a mobile designer or working on a mobile project. It's one thing to look at it on your screen, but the actual end usage will be on your phone. So you should always like just fine tune the type sizes and look at on the device.
Totally.
So the prototype starts from your home screen where you're gonna be tapping on the Foosball Pro icon. If you tap on it, you're now brought into a welcome screen that has the logo and ask you to continue as maybe you logged previously, so it says continue as Picho in that case. We dropped in an image there. I think it's kind of cool with that overlay look. It could also, the way you could pitch it to an investor or anything, you could say, oh, it's going to be a video in the back, and suddenly everyone is like, whoa, you know. So it sets the mood for the app. In that case, you're going to tap in on continuous Picho. Then you're getting brought into a news feed where we could have a mix of different type of content that is all like designed from a card-based format. You can see some status like Paul Tranny. You can see some final score here that has been recorded previously during the day, and also more content could come from the admin of the league. So in that case, Adobe would have posted several photos of a previous tournament. And with our deep research, we had a big research on the field here, and we came to the conclusion that the play button should be the primary action on that screen, because we want to encourage people to play at this point. So that's why we have that big play button here. So by tapping this button, we showed the prototype earlier on, but you would select a different matchup. So at this point, you could play a friend, you could play someone that is your same level, so you don't want to get beat up too hard, or someone completely random that would get an invite from you. You can also close it out if you need. So on tapping, you could just move in and out. And at this point, you know, like we would have more fidelity later on, like, you know, like the background would blur in this with like that action sheet would pop from the bottom in there, and then by tapping same division matchup, you bring to a load screen. Tapping in there, you would see the opponents that the app is selected for you. So in that case, we have Damien, that was everyone from Adobe, Lee, and Michael Chase. And I really want to, you see, I didn't put that part, but wait just a second, just to show you how quick is it to adjust some stuff. So right now, switching from design to prototype, clicking on Michael Chase, so you can see that blue selected box here. Click drag here, and then we can probably do a slide to the left, so we want the action to go this way. And then if we click again, we can see that it works. And in that case, we can do friendly or competitive. And let's do competitive at this point. Challenge Michael Chase, so you can see that invite is sent. And then you, at this point, we can go back in there, click the done button, and then this would probably, let's do push up for that. And then now we would, in that experience, we would switch to Michael's phone, so he can see that he got an invite from me to play a game. And then if he taps accept, then we'll go and play the game. So,
cool.
That's it.
I think someone had asked also, how do you kind of adjust the score? And so maybe this is done by sensors or something that's done on the table, or we could even put like a big large plus button on the screen that just allows somebody. Someone
smarter than me will figure out how to do it.
Cool.
At this point, we're pitching a concept, but yeah, I think sensors on the goal line, that's probably how I would probably do it, but no idea really how to execute it at this point.
Awesome. And we're about 10 minutes away from reviewing the challenge and selecting a winner also. So we're really excited to see the dashboard submissions. There's a lot of great content that's in the UI kit. So Daryl asked if you have any tips for centering text into call to actions or buttons.
That's a good question. We can do pretty quick. I usually just, so let's pretend this is ungroup in there. So let's say you click and did that rounded button that we're using through the app. I would probably first center the button inside the artboard, then go ahead and have my text in there, and then by selecting the two of them, I can go up there to the right, and you can see your pretty
those are the align options.
Align options that is pretty common in all Adobe products. So you do align horizontally and then align vertically, and then that should should work.
Everything snaps to center.
And then once you're in there, one thing that you should probably do is to put your text in center in there. So that way, if you do more buttons and you type in something different, like, I don't know, next matchup, you don't have to realign every time, so it just always starts from the center in there.
Yep.
I think it could be a good tip.
Awesome. Thanks for asking, Daryl. Thanks for joining us, Mitch.
All right, so here. So maybe we can add an image in the back here. Current game. And then we could put a song. Do you have a song you would like?
A song here?
Yeah.
Final Countdown.
Oh, nice. That's a good song.
I mean, it's 3 verse 2.
Final countdown.
There you go.
Count down like that, right? And then we could have, like, I don't know, now playing. It's kind of a jukebox meets a a foosball table, you know, in bars when you select your songs.
Yeah. Yeah, Claude, thanks for the singing. It's really good.
Who sings the final countdown?
I don't know. Do you guys know?
Chat?
I can't remember the name.
Anyone in the chat knows?
I feel like I should know this, but I don't know. We definitely need an air horn button.
Oh, yeah. So maybe just like Europe.
That's right. Yeah, it's Europe. Should have known that. They used to play that whenever our basketball team went out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So we're starting to get some submissions. Thank you so much for those of you that are participating in the challenge. You're going to be given the opportunity to win a free annual subscription of Adobe CC.
I don't know if that could work for now. We could put that arrow or button right there. So let's say you score, it says like goal on your screen, and then you tap it.
You could just
to like intimidate the other player.
just let your opponent have it.
Oh my god, that could be so stupid. There's a real one. Bringing back skeuomorphic look in there. I need a PNG. Yeah, let's put that. That's pretty neat. See how easy it is to bring some elements in there. We asked for air horn. We got air horn. So the replay could go somewhere else, and then we can probably add like a big circle that's gonna go behind, and then rotate this a bit. So you tap on it, and it just, I don't know. We'll see. I might do refinement into sketches after this session today. We'd come up with some better stuff tomorrow.
Yeah,
Not
absolutely.
a big fan of that screen right now. Maybe we can put back the score somehow too. I don't know. And then see that the score got updated after the goal. So it could go this way, and then it's now 4-2. That's a bad image.
So Luke, yeah, you should be able to, like, the alignment tools should have parity between anything that you're using, like Illustrator, Photoshop, XD. Happy Valentine's Day to you too, Daniel. Thanks for joining us.
No, I'll just go.
We're starting to get some great submissions.
I wish we could put noise now. Now that we have that button, we could.
You want to, yeah. That sounds like a DJ horn.
Alright, so if we prototype now from there to there. It should have dissolve. Yeah, another step. All right, that way it's better.
Alrighty. So we've got Claude Piché over here working on a foosball app. Right now we're focusing on an iPad experience, which is complementary to the mobile experience, which we spent day one kind of working through and working on. We're trying to capture kind of the whole user flow here from mobile back to table. And so we're kind of tying up the mobile experience in a prototype, and then now we're moving over into the iPad screens.
Yeah. So one thing I want to do here is to try to show what the replay would look like too. So maybe we can drop, let's do, like have a close button up there. Where's the X? Right.
I'm being asked to sign in on my Creative Cloud. So let me find my password real quick.
I want to bring in the UI of an iPad with play, but I might just do that later. We're gonna put some black shapes here. And then just go bing. Do this pretty fast.
Alrighty. Let's. What is?
Right, and then bring another image.
So we can take a little bit of time and review some of the submissions.
Let's do it.
While you're working on that. So I've got a few of the submissions open up on my screen. We've got Ashish here who's showing a dashboard. It looks like we're using some of the similar content that was provided. So if I click over here, looks like it's going to navigate into a portfolio.
Nice.
And then go back to the dashboard. And then we can click into invoices. So we've got some
freelance.
Yeah, it looks like something
cool.
for freelancers. We've got some screen orientation that's kind of jumping around from vertical to horizontal. Thanks, Ashish. We've got Tom O'Keefe over here. So this is the well-being dashboard. So we've got energy
nice.
level,
Wow.
steps taken, distance walked, sleep, segments. Let's take the steps taken look. So this is cool. They've kind of taken some of the components and then kind of dropped them into a mobile or an iframe. So not kind of maybe using the existing components and then modifying it.
We could add like a meditation hours in there too for like even more well-being. It's kind of cool. I like it a lot.
Yeah, awesome. And then if I click on Atlanta, it's going to go in and a little bit deeper. And then we can back out and finish the experience. And then we have create together. So let's log in. Next. Cool. See
Nice.
the dashboard.
Good colors.
Click into the My Briefs. So we've got some examples of maybe some current client briefs that are being sent in. Explore the briefs.
Nice.
Yeah, really nice use of the template here.
I like the create together.
Mm.
Really deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. For a long time, when digital telepathy was going through a rebrand phase to telepathy only, I was pitching Together instead.
Just Together?
Yeah, that's the name
good.
of the agency.
Awesome.
So I like that a lot.
So here's another submission. Whoa, it's very meta. It's like us.
Whoa.
Inside of the screen.
Okay.
Go back. So we got some dashboard. I really like these.
That's cool. Yeah.
These charts here. They're kind of like a spider graph.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of them. Click around.
Nice.
Here.
Okay, so you could go see the different. It's like kind of an analytics for
different
live
level
streaming.
filters,
That's cool.
maybe.
I like that.
And then we've got a submission here from Chandra.
Ooh,
showing
cool
Healthy
colors.
Family. Oh, so we're actually in her.
And the inspect element.
In the inspect, yeah. Really nice use of color here.
Maybe we can show how it works at the same time. It's kind of cool. It like you can see that XD just pulls out every font, every asset in there, so you can provide your dev.
Awesome. Cool. All right, guys. Thanks for your submissions. We'll take a little bit of time and review it, and then we'll select the winner.
Yep. Cool. All right, guys. So did a lot on the mobile today, the mobile portion. We got some iPad stuff going on, which I would say I'm like 60 to 70% satisfied with what I have right now. So I'll take another pass later on. So I usually do that when I design too. I don't try to like when you feel stuck into something, just don't try to like go like deeper and deeper. Like you should move on to a next screen. You should go for a walk. You should go do something else. Go shoot photos outside. Go do something else, and then coming back to your desk, you'll feel like you'll have like a fresh pair of eyes on stuff sometimes. So I would highly recommend doing that if you guys get those moments while you design.
Totally. Yeah, and I think that's also why it's really good that you have the sketches that you do, because it helps you kind of bring yourself back also to your work. Sometimes if you do feel like you're getting stuck on a particular screen, it's okay to just put that screen down and just move on to the next one.
Yeah.
And just say, all right, I'm going to kind of drop this one. I'm going to move on to the next experience. And sometimes that can then
100%.
feed back into your previous work.
Cool. So today we're probably going to switch back to that mobile view. So at this point, we saw that we have a match going on. We see a score going on. And then we were talking about covering the overall experience. So we got our pre-game, we got some live gaming, and now we're going to do a post-game screen, which will be the score summary. So in that case, it's that screen right there where it could tell you, you know, like a personalized message. If you lost by a big amount, could say like, yikes, like you got destroyed, you should probably practice on some stuff. Then we could see some stats. Again, we imagine at this point that our players have sensors, so we can measure stuff like ball possession, shot attempt, passing percentage, and maybe at this point, as we the overall goal is to keep on playing. The main action would be to request a rematch right now. So if you lost 11-2 and you want your revenge, well, you should request a rematch. That's pretty much the screen that we're gonna try to tackle right now.
Awesome. So for those of you that submitted designs, thank you so much for sharing just a little bit of your process and your work. We also still have 2 more segments coming up after Claude wraps up today. So we have Jeannie and Peter joining us. We'll still be focusing on the same challenge, so there's still more time for you to kind of think about the challenge and the experiment. We'll be picking a winner here fairly shortly who's going to get a year's subscription for Adobe CC. And yeah, just thanks again for sharing the work. So Claude, so how are you feeling about just the overall progress, what you've got going so far, kind of switching between 2 platforms in Adobe XD?
Yeah, I would say that I feel slightly better than how I felt yesterday at the end of the stream. I was like, oh my god, I just got like 3 or 4 screens in. Is it enough? So today was a little more challenging. I think we covered a lot of more ground today in terms of breadth of the app. And right now, well, we also said yesterday that like, you know, the first part, when you start from a completely blank screen and with sketches, you have a lot of visual stuff to start. So that's why it goes a little slower. But once your styles are set, you get a good rhythm and you're able to produce at a faster pace.
Cool. And you kind of arrived on some round shapes, right? You're using larger corner radiuses, round buttons. You mentioned the roundness in the font. What kind of led you to, I mean, is there something that inspired you, or is this just you making, like using your creative license to just say, hey, I made this decision, this is what I'm going to kind of go with?
I think it goes with, there's a bit of trend going on too. Okay. I don't have a crazy scientifical, like, oh yeah, we use round shapes because it makes people play sport better or something. It's all coming up from just a style I like aesthetically right now.
Cool.
I do think that like the typefaces and so let's say I started with that rounded theme overall, then the selection of my typefaces goes around with it. You can see that's like impactful font with some roundness in it, and then the fully rounded button, and then you have the circular font that has kind of a nice neat roundness in it too. So that's like all going together at this point. Yeah. So
what do you think we can expect for tomorrow? What would you like to?
Yeah, so I think we're getting close to be, I would say we're 99% finished. Like I just need that last screen to be done, like with the overall recap of the game. I would say that I'm like 70%. I'm gonna try to bring more ideas into the iPad experience itself. I might do some stuff around if there's other players or other like colleagues around the table that wants to like to like guess who's gonna win and stuff. Maybe we could do like a live poll going on top right. See that like people are voting for you, so you like have that extra pressure.
Yeah.
And I might explore some stuff around the watch. So I've never, like honestly, never designed any interface around a watch. So that's gonna be a first time for me. It's gonna be a little interesting.
Cool.
I'm gonna the fact that I've never designed anything on a watch, I'll go take a look at the templates that were provided by Marcelo Silva.
Yeah, yesterday.
So I'm going to go check that out. I really encourage people to check out some templates when you do something for the first time. It gives you a base. You can notice some design pattern of how to navigate in and out. And then once you know those constraints, you can get creative with it. So that's what I'll probably do tomorrow.
Awesome. That sounds great. And in the next couple minutes, we'll select a winner from the challenge today. So we'll have Claude handpick one of our winners. Paul is in the house.
Paul Tranny in here.
Hey guys.
You saw that?
How's it going?
You're in my app?
Huh?
Oh yeah,
you challenge everyone in there. It's a foosball player.
Oh,
foosball
sweet.
table, and then you challenge everyone.
And I'm not even good at it. Not even good at it. To interrupt though, it is Valentine's Day. I thought I'd bring you guys some
my god.
Some sweets for you guys.
Thanks, man.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Paul's the best.
Paul, everybody.
Nice. Well, I'm gonna stop working now. Done. Nice.
Awesome. Did you guys see these?
That's awesome.
We got some chocolate hearts. Got some Ghirardelli hearts. Got some goodies over here. I wish I could just throw them into the screen and share them with everybody. So what do you think? You think in 1 minute you're ready to review some... Oh, cool. You got the prototype going.
So on the iPad, you would probably, if you watch the replay, go there. If you close, So one thing to know too, is that right now it's two separate elements, but if you group them, we're gonna be together and do one hotspot with it. Maybe we can work on the Spotify player tomorrow, but
Cool. Yeah, and by grouping those two elements, what you're doing is you're increasing the hit area or the clickable like real estate that's implied by the button. And that's something pretty important to remember when working on mobile devices. They say like default dimension is anywhere between 40 pixels square, 60 pixels square, but you really want to think about it. And that's where, you know, when you're using XD and you can pull it onto your mobile phone, you can actually see the tappable area and you can start to tweak that. And sometimes you can group the objects. Sometimes you can put a shape that's completely transparent over that object. But there's a lot of good tips and tricks there just to make sure that from a user experience perspective that the clickable area is nice and sizable, because everybody has different hand sizes, so it's just important to kind of think about. Awesome. So why don't we take a look at some of these submissions?
Yep, let's do it.
I've pulled out a few here.
Aaron said, Claude is my Valentine, back off ball.
Yeah, Paul.
Aaron's my boss.
But Aaron, did you bring chocolates?
Yeah, Aaron, come on, I need some chocolates.
All right, so we looked at Ashish's submission here. We've got Tom O'Keefe. I thought this one was really
That's
nice.
Cool. Yeah,
I
that's
think
super cool.
we both spent some time. I definitely feel like you were surprised by that submission. We've got our next submission here. And then I did just want to show
nice.
this one. So this was another one that got in late into the game. But I know that Lindsay might be getting reviewed during the next session.
It's cool style. I like the colors too.
So what are your thoughts?
My favorite is this one.
Okay.
The well-being dashboard. I think it could be kind of cool with all those new product they're selling around, like trackers and all of that stuff. It would be kind of cool to have one centralized place where you can see the different activities you have. So my vote is for this one.
Awesome.
Congrats.
All right. So congratulations, Tom O'Keefe.
Big winner.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for your time.
Do you have anything that you'd like to share, like what you particularly like about this design? Is there anything that stood out for you?
I think I like the idea overall.
Okay.
I think it's a really cool idea and a great use of a dashboard. Great way to summarize some data around activity. The different colors are really cool too. I like the touch with the background image in there as well. I really like it. Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, I think, you know, there's obviously some time that was spent in here, but also just to see how they iterated on the kit that was provided, took the components and kind of brought it into their own way. I think is awesome. So thanks so much, Tom. Thanks for everybody that submitted ideas. There's going to be another session, so there's definitely more time. So if you feel like you weren't able to get your submission in time, we'll definitely have those get reviewed with Jeannie and Peter next.
And we'll have probably another challenge tomorrow too.
Yeah, there is a challenge on day 3 as well.
Yeah. Pretty sure people are not really working on Thursdays. Like you can have like a separate window on the side, design some XD stuff while you're at work.
Yeah,
really
why
encourage
not?
You to
Yeah,
do that.
I'm curious if anybody is, watching these live streams at work. If everybody's at home, it'd be really not only where you're from, but maybe the context that you're in. I know that a couple times I've tuned in while I've been at the office just because I like the ambient noise, but also just to hear what's going on. I watched a couple of the illustrators and animators just
it's cool
to glean some pro tips, right? Just to learn a little bit more about how other people are using the tools.
Yeah.
Which has been cool.
When people do the After Effects one, I'm like, that's really crazy. That's super detailed. It seems so hard, and it's really fun to watch everyone's passion.
Yeah, awesome.
Cool.
So you're kind of taking some next steps over here on the iPad experience again.
Yep.
Congratulations and thanks so much, Tom.
So there, the replay will take you there.
So what do we? Looks like we still got the dashboard up on the screen, but so you're playing with the Spotify playlist.
Yeah, it's gonna be in there.
So maybe that's something we can dig into tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe a bit more in there. finalize that final countdown. And play a bit more and add a lot of details and like polishing everything's up, because it's okay to move really fast to get your ideas out on pixels, but then you always need to like just do another pass and make sure everything's on point. And yeah, the next step after that, once we're done with that overall thing, would be to put it in front of users and gather some feedback and see how we can adjust and make this experience better overall.
Yeah, and
So-
what are some of your approaches to going out and getting that feedback? I mean, a lot of times,
Well,
you can just go to a coffee shop, you can grab people kind of in your office or around you.
I do it like most of the times, and probably it's not, at least it's a one step towards that, but at work, I always show my work to everyone. I have my go-tos of people that I know they can give me really honest feedback.
Awesome.
They know I'm not butthurt by anything, so they I was not supposed to say that. Okay, sorry. So yeah, they know that I can take feedback, so they just tell me the truth, and that's it. Yeah.
Right. So going to people that you know are going to confidently give you constructive criticism is
Yeah.
helpful. People that are going to help you obviously move your design in a direction that maybe you hadn't thought about. So
Yeah.
sometimes even people that don't think similarly is a really good use case to get some non-biased feedback
Yeah.
in there. And I think overall, just somebody who has maybe no context can also be
Yep.
really helpful. And you know, as you do this feedback, it's really important just to kind of observe and just see how people use the product, because you're gonna notice things that they struggle with and,
Yeah.
and things that they try to click on but they can't click on, and those are areas where you really want to explore and say, well, why
Yeah.
did you try to click that? Like, walk me through what you were trying to experience
Yeah.
there, or what did you expect to
That's
have
cool.
happen?
Yeah.
And those are really good opportunities to kind of dig in and help understand and set user expectations.
Yeah, it's good to also record with video
Mm-hmm.
and also voice when you do user feedback, like legit, real user feedback. So that way you can come back and then like scrub through, really see what they were doing, and also capture the insights that you will have to improve it.
Yeah, absolutely. So for everyone that joined us today, thank you so much. Thanks, Brian, for asking some questions. Mateus for coming in for a couple days. It's been really great having everybody asking questions and kind of contributing to our final design. We will be here tomorrow, and Claude's going to continue working on his Foosball companion app, which
Yep.
is shaping up to be a lot of fun. We've got 2 other segments going on for the day. Jeannie and Peter will be joining us, and thanks for submitting the challenges. It's been a lot of fun just kind of working in, I mean, in many ways, I see this as kind of a collaborative exercise as well. So it's really great just to kind of see everyone else's feedback and see how people kind of
Yeah.
contribute to your design.
The hair
horn.
came in from
Yep.
the chat.
We get
it's my
feature
favorite feature
requests.
so far. So yeah, pretty
So,
cool.
Awesome. And so you have your sketches on your artboard, and so do you feel like you've kind of checked off all those boxes in regards to what you're showing in your sketches, or are there some things we can look forward to tomorrow?
So far from the sketches I have right there, pretty much everything got covered. I like to align them right next to my design, so that way I always refer back. But everything got pretty much covered, except that those 2 last screens where it's the summary of the score, and also you show that you shared the score back on the news feed, so you can see that like it starts from the news screen, the news feed, it goes through a game, shares back in the news feed, and that like wraps up the experience pretty nicely.
Right.
I'll probably do more sketching around the iPad experience tonight when I get back.
Cool.
So
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting when we look at your screens on mobile and then we look at your sketches.
Yep.
I mean, especially in the first set of sketches right here.
Yep.
There's a lot of parity between what you sketched out in your mind and what we're showing in the final visual mock-ups, to the point to where you've kind of set those constraints for yourself. And I think that that's really great because, one, you're showing a level of intention in your sketches, but 2, you're mitigating any exploration until you kind of get the content down into XD. And so you're committed, you're constrained, you've got some sketches, and as you kind of complete this experience, sure, we could come back and change rounded corners to square corners.
100%.
We could play with colors, and we can do all that on a systems level. But right now, you're basically saying, this is what I decided.
Yeah.
I want to see these ideas come to fruition, and then as we move on, we can change it. Which is, it's. Would you say this is a lot easier?
It's easier
than if you were just starting with a blank canvas.
And these are my clean sketches. So prior to that, there was a lot of stuff going on. So like Crazy Eights, a lot of like whiteboard and all of that stuff. That came to that cleaner sketches. But maybe I can talk about more about ideation phase tomorrow too.
Okay.
Maybe we can start. Maybe we'll do that before for the iPad.
Great. I
have a set of constraint cards and all that stuff.
Awesome.
So we can play with
well,
it.
Thanks so much everybody for joining us. It's been a blast. Happy Valentine's Day, and look forward to the next segment. And stick around for Genie.
Goodbye.